Rain did not fall that night. It attacked, cold and relentless, turning the empty bus stop into a place people avoided, a place where hope usually did not wait. A single father, worn down by grief and responsibility, noticed a young blind girl sitting alone on the bench, soaked to the bone, clutching a white cane and a torn bag, clearly abandoned by the world. He had no idea that stopping for her would unravel a truth so powerful it would shake his life to the core. Before the story goes any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and quiet miracles that change ordinary lives, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel Ripple of Kindness. Your support keeps stories like this alive. The man's name was Aaron, a 36-year-old warehouse supervisor who had learned to live with exhaustion as his closest companion. Ever since his wife passed away from a sudden illness 3 years earlier, his life had narrowed to school runs, late shifts, unpaid bills, and the silent weight of trying to be both mother and father to his 6-year-old son. That evening, after finishing an extra shift, he was driving home through the rain, his mind fixed on whether the electricity bill could wait another week. He would have driven past the bus stop like everyone else if the headlights had not caught the flash of a white cane slipping from trembling fingers. Something in that small, fragile movement pierced through his fatigue. He pulled over, telling himself he would just check if she was safe. The girl looked no older than 19 or 20, her dress thin and faded, her hair wet and clinging to her face. Her eyes stared forward without focus, not empty but searching in a way that suggested she was listening for a world that had already turned away. There was no anger in her posture, only resignation, as if she had accepted that waiting was all she was allowed to do. Aaron felt a familiar ache, the same one he felt whenever his son asked questions he could not answer about why his mother never came back. He learned quickly that she had been dropped there hours earlier by relatives who promised they would return. They never did. Her name was Lily, and she had been blind since childhood. She carried no phone, no money, and no address written anywhere. Only the belief that someone would come back for her because they said they would. Aaron knew what it was like to cling to promises that never returned. The rain soaked through his jacket as he stood there, arguing with himself about responsibility, about how one good deed could easily turn into a burden he was already too tired to carry. Yet walking away felt impossible, like abandoning a part of himself. He offered her the only thing he could without thinking too far ahead: shelter. The ride home was quiet, filled only with the sound of rain against the windshield and Lily's careful breathing. At his small apartment, he gave her dry clothes, warm food, and the corner of the couch. His son watched silently from the hallway, eyes wide with curiosity and concern, sensing that something important was happening even if he did not understand it yet. That night, as Aaron lay awake listening to the storm fade, he wondered how close he had come to driving past a moment that might change all of them. Days turned into weeks. Aaron contacted shelters, social services, and anyone who might help trace Lily's family, but every call ended with polite apologies and closed doors. Lily, despite her situation, carried a quiet strength. She helped around the apartment, folded laundry by touch, listened to audiobooks with Aaron's son, and brought a strange calm into a home that had been heavy with grief. Slowly, the apartment felt less like a place of survival and more like a place of warmth. Aaron told himself this was temporary, yet his heart betrayed him every time he imagined her leaving. The truth came unexpectedly, not in a dramatic confession, but in a small, overlooked detail. One evening, while sorting old documents to clear space, Lily recognized a name mentioned on a hospital letter he had left on the table. Her reaction was immediate and physical, her hands shaking, her breathing unsteady. Aaron later discovered that Lily's mother had been a close friend of his late wife, separated years earlier by poverty, illness, and unforgiving circumstances. Lily had been abandoned not out of cruelty alone, but because her remaining relatives could not afford her care and believed, wrongly, that leaving her at a public place gave her a chance at being found by someone kinder than they were. What stunned Aaron was not just the connection, but the realization that his wife had once tried to help Lily's family, sending letters and small amounts of money until her own health failed. In taking Lily in, Aaron had unknowingly completed an act of kindness his wife had started years before. The coincidence felt too precise to be random, too meaningful to ignore. Grief he thought he had buried resurfaced, but this time it carried purpose instead of pain. Aaron chose not to send Lily away. With help from community programs and sheer determination, he arranged proper care, education resources, and eventually legal guardianship. His son began calling Lily his big sister, a title that filled the apartment with laughter Aaron had not heard since before loss defined his life. Lily, once abandoned at a bus stop, became the quiet center of a family rebuilt not by blood alone, but by compassion. As you approach the end of this story, if it touched your heart even a little, please take a moment to like the video, share it with others, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness. Your engagement helps spread stories that remind us humanity still exists in small, brave choices. Just before we end, we have one special request. Please comment below what you believe matters more, fate or kindness, and why. Years later, Aaron would often drive past that same bus stop, now repaired and brightly lit, and think about how close he came to missing everything that mattered. A single decision, made on a night filled with rain and doubt, transformed 3 broken lives into one whole family. Sometimes the truth that stuns us most is not hidden in secrets, but waiting quietly at the places we are too tired to notice, hoping someone will stop.